The Baby Diaries. Okay, we're rolling. The first episode of The Baby Diaries. While I beat the shit out of the table.
Be careful. We have to spend like 2 hours.
Okay, so this is the first episode of The Baby Diaries. And basically, there is some background to this that I'll add. And one of the things is that we're pregnant and we're 7 months in. We just moved into a nice new place. And hopefully the internet gets better in here. But there's a lot going on. And basically what we're going to do is talk about what we're doing to prepare for a baby. And what we've done so far, and what we're going to do, and what we're working on right now. So I'll introduce Natalia. Tally, she's the pregnant one. I'm the one that made her pregnant.
It would be weird if it would be vice versa.
Yeah, so obvious statements being made. But what did you just say? What are you working on today?
Today was nothing actually in my mind, but like, yeah, you're right. Constantly, every day you're waking up and you're my checklist and you're looking at like what today already checked, whatever is coming over. It's like a quest. You like trying to figure out the quest. You know, remember when we were like children, we're playing the games, the quest with the questions. You need to find the answer. Yeah. So this is like a project. It's like a research. You're doing like a project like in the university. You don't have a clue where you're stepping. And then you're just doing this surveys, asking your friends, looking to the internet and trying to figure out. Because, you know, the most probably upsetting part, maybe because of my background, whenever I'm like asking the questions, people saying, oh, there are so many options and everybody has like to choose the one, rather than me being analytical, like I need to, what's the best option to work with? I don't want to spend the time for for looking for options, because I don't think that I have enough time. Yeah. What about you? What's your feelings about that?
Well, we've been busy. We just bought a place, and anybody who's been through a real estate transaction knows that it's kind of like a second job, looking for places, and then once you find the one you want, that's really when the real work starts. So we haven't really had a lot of time to put into stuff that we need for the baby, but we're getting a lot of stuff given to us, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. So we've got a lot of diapers already. We've got toys. We've got a breast pump for you.
Yes.
For you.
Yeah.
But what else do we need? What are you researching now?
So, like, we have small stuff and accessories. Yeah. So we didn't really, I think, scratch the surface when it comes to the large stuff. Like, I heard from the friends that the best investment where you cannot be cheap on, that's a stroller. Yeah. Like, it's your saver, because you go into the mall and you have a stroller, which is basically where you put things, pile it up. And then it should have like special wheels, like with the tires that you can take, especially in British Columbia, because you take into the hike trails and stuff. So it needs to be prepared for any surface. Mm-hmm. Needs to have all the positions for baby to be comfortable. And I also heard from friends that they actually bought the car, coming to the car case. We just discussed it today. That Victor's friend, he actually bought a car that will fit the stroller and all baby shit together in the way that they want it. Yeah. So it's not you choosing the car because you want the car. You actually choosing the car that can fit the stroller perfectly. Yeah. And all the stuff that's extras that you need to put it. So what he did, he took the stroller. He was going around all the auto whatever showrooms, and he was just putting the stroller and see like how it fits. Yeah, so testing the yeah, so basically testing the cars for being like for being used as a family purpose. Right. So when you get this information, your mind completely blowing. You're like, wait a minute. I keep saying myself that I don't want the world spin around the baby. I want us and baby will be like just in nice, like adding rather than the baby is the sun, is the star, and everything is just sort of going around.
Little dictator.
Yes, I keep saying that since I got pregnant, that I feel like it's a dictating rules. Like, if you want to go off track and trying to make it in a way that I want this baby to be like a good add to my life, rather than my life completely changing and spinning around the baby.
Yeah. This is the adjustments that we got to make.
Yeah, so we started from shell.
Yeah.
Like the apartment, and now we're going to the details, like the nursery, the preparing the nest to look like, safe for the baby. And we're still trying to figure it out how we will like match up. Like, for example, this is your studio / office, and we wanted to make sure that we still keep up with our hobbies.
Yeah, that's key. So that's the thing, is trying to get a balance between our lives and the baby's life.
Yeah.
So we're working on it.
And I don't know, we'll probably, when we'll record later, I hope that it will be not like the world around the baby. It will be still us and a baby, rather than baby and us.
Yeah. No, we'll get the right balance, but the baby is something that, when it comes to preparing like what we're doing now, we're actually trying to focus on the baby and make sure. We should call it the boy, because it is a boy.
Yeah, we didn't mention that too. Yeah,
it's a boy.
I don't know if it's like maybe only color-wise now.
Do you prep differently for a boy versus a girl? That's a hypothetical question. That's not a question. But I mean, how do you? At least we know now that it's a boy.
I think it's more of a the way how I feel, it's more of a parents divided in like, I have a boy, I have a girl, or I have twins, right? Twins is like very random cases. But I think right now, for now, it's more of a reactions of the people when they find out. Like, the girls keep saying like, oh, it's better to be a girl than a boy for the lady. And it's, of course, better for the guy to have a boy, because they know exactly how the world look like for the boy rather than for the girl. To me, it's still like, whatever. Honestly,
I know it's a for me. I'm hoping it's healthy now, but boy is reassuring because I'm a boy. That's the only reason. That's the only split, is that I don't know what it's like to be a woman or a little girl, and I know what it's like to be a little boy and a guy, a full-grown man. So it's familiar territory, but that's kind of like the stuff that we're looking at.
I don't feel like familiar or not familiar, because I have a younger brother.
That's helpful.
I took care of this little shit for quite a while.
Little shit.
Yeah, we have 7 years difference, so I remember very vivid, like when my mom was pregnant, I was helping her, especially at the last months. And when he came on board, and like how I help my mom, because basically my father is a sailor, so he will pop up, help to drive mom to the hospital and back, and then you always have this shift, and it's us basically having to manage right now. Like, it was 2 of us, and then it's 3 of us plus mom, my brother. So I know how to actually basically take care of the baby boy, but baby girl would be probably a completely different experience for me.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where we look at everything, and at first, when you told me you were pregnant, I couldn't even go into the logistics. It's just the initial shock of you don't hear that every day, so that's why. It's almost like it's a joke, but it's not a joke.
And I guess everybody reacts differently, depends on the stage of their life where they are. To me it was really like shocking. Like, I expected everything. I wasn't even ready for cancer.
Like you thought you were going in with a diagnosis of something really bad.
I have health issues, but that was not a really health issue. It was work condition.
It was more like, what are these things that are happening to me that I can't understand and need to get checked?
Yeah, and it was very confusing and weird. I guess our experience is very random because people like either they like ready, or if they're not ready they just having a test and they like know and they just go and check, right? In our case it was more of a confusion because it was still on the pill.
Yes.
And I did the 2 tests and they were negative, so that's why we excluded this possibility. So I thought like if there is something, and there's no like this, you know, common stuff like you have morning sickness, headaches, or like general you feel like weak or whatever. I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
And
well, you're lucky, probably.
Well, I guess so, but it was confusing in the beginning because I didn't know what's happening. So the only one thing that was a bit bothering me is just I had a bit of a period, but again I had like the problem like coming over, like it can come for a couple of days, like twice in a month, and then no period. So that was kind of a background that I was like, I don't know what's happening. It's probably just my period, again, messy, whatever. So he's
kicking right now.
He's like, okay, mama. Yeah, so that's why I was not sure what's happening, but I was sure 100% is something probably health-wise. And swear to God, the first, that was a Russian nurse who was actually in the hospital who did the ultrasound. So I found out through the ultrasound appointment what's happening. And when she looked at me, she was like, well, are we expecting? I was like, expecting what?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening there? She was like, well, baby. I was like, what? And then I remember it was so shocking. The first, it was just like a warm bowl, and you're feeling like, first like super hot, like I was sweating, and then the chills, and again hot and chills. So, and she was like, yeah, do you want to see like on the screen? I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm ready. And then she was like, well, it's 10 weeks, it's like 2.5 months already in. So
that was the biggest surprise for me at the beginning.
It was another shock.
Like, you're already done a trimester almost.
Yes.
Like, that was a big one.
Yeah, so
now that we're 7 months in, you told me how much weight you gained, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, so it's very personal. Depends on how you build. I know some people gain less or more, and there's one actually probably difference between girls and boys that I started to feel right now. Boys are bigger normally.
Mm-hmm. And they're positioned differently in the abdomen.
And they're positioned differently, and they're more stronger in terms of punching. They're more active inside you, mostly. Again, it depends. So like right now I feel like I'm getting heavier, like, and it's happening on a daily basis rather than on a weekly basis like it was before the changes. And like right now I'm 16 kilos plus to my normal weight. Right,
so 16 kilos additional.
Yeah, that I'm carrying right now.
16 kilos in pounds is probably, what, 33, 34 pounds?
It's like 2.5, right?
2.2 kilo, 2.2 pounds per kilo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So 2.2 times 16.
Yeah.
So that's the weight gain from the baby. And it's all in the abdomen.
Yes. Like, I mean, I have probably some fat deposits. Like here. Well. But then, I don't feel like I change a lot physically except the abdomen.
And the boobs.
And the boobs, yeah.
What happened to the boobs?
If only they could stay like this. They're so beautiful and big right now.
They are.
Yeah.
But what cup size increase have you went? Because you were probably normally, well, there's...
Again, it's very individual for, each lady.
And now you're a D.
C and plus, like it's 1.5, yeah.
1.5, okay.
So I'm still times. Like fine here, but I'm just in the volume.
Yeah, that happens too. All these bodily changes. So the big thing for me is, because I'm buying more groceries these days, I'm like we're working at home, we're living at home, we're eating every meal out of our home, so that's why I'm buying more groceries. But the aisle at the grocery store that I now cannot ignore and look down every time is the baby aisle. Like when you don't have a baby coming, you don't even really think of that aisle. You just walk by it, you're like whatever, like you don't think a thing of it. It's just wall-to-wall diapers.
Yeah.
But now I actually look down there like it's this it's this area that I'm going to be going to every time I'm at the grocery store probably. And I'm going to need before I used to just use the bin just to go do my shopping, little bin. Now I need a full shopping cart and it's full afterwards. So like there's little differences.
And we have a little dolly, like before we never use it. A little dolly to help us. We've
got a dolly now to bring the stuff from the parking garage into our place, our new place. And there's a lot more walking involved for this place than there was at my old place. Because my old place, I just come in the front door, 10 seconds, I'm on a ground suite unit, I walk in front door and into my house. Now it's more of like a few minutes to get from the parking garage. But that few minutes, that could take, you need stuff to help you make that journey a little less taxing on the body, carrying stuff up and down all the time. I mean, we have an elevator, but it's still like a walk.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, probably another change that I can see for sure, like our food agenda changed a bit. Because like we started to look at like what we exactly put in our mouth and trying to eat more healthy. But again, it's also COVID kind of related to you want to keep healthy.
Yeah.
I heard there's a lot of vitamins that you have to take, but what I'm taking right now, I feel like I'm like in the middle of kind of an experiment and I'm like buying that takes so much and making sure there is something will be like, because it's basically for two of us right now, making sure that, because he's like using all my vitamins and juices and whatever, so just trying to make sure that it's not the food, it's actually vitamins and all the required elements will be enough for two of us, him building himself and me keeping myself healthy.
Yeah, that's key.
That's key.
So what are our parents doing?
I think it's very unique experience for them too, because they're not attached to us. It's very virtual for them, for both families, because they're only talking to us on a weekly basis. I know there is a boost in motivation for them right now in their life, but I just had this talk with my mom and she told me like, sometimes I feel like, yes, I'm happy, but at the same time, I don't feel that there is an attachment to this because I don't see you. I don't physically have, you around. So, like, maximum what she did right now, I actually advise her to download one of the apps that I use as a pregnant woman. And again, for them, it's another experience because it were years ago when they went through that with us, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, technology, you can, like, on a weekly basis get these notifications telling you what's the development of the baby as well as, like, what's happening to your body. And she was, like, going through that again with you. It was hell of an experience, even through the app. My mom would never really use apps, like, part of her life to check something. So the maximum that she really prefer and like, it's Instagram, right? Like, using apps of a pregnant woman. She's like, I'm finding out so much. Yeah. Like, that we didn't know before. I'm sure your mom, too, because whenever she asks questions and answers, she's like, oh, really? Even, like, my friends who had we have this gap of, like, let's say about 10 years. They have kids who are like in their 10s right now. Even them, when I'm telling them the new stuff, like for example, sleep only on the left side because it's better for baby and for you, for your organs and stuff. They're like, what? Yeah. Like, no, thank you. That's too much of it.
Yeah. Well, the pregnancy pillow helps with that.
Yeah, the pregnancy pillow is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you were told by Brian that it's good for the last months. Honestly, I loved it from the beginning.
I loved it from the beginning.
The same as strawberry.
I was using it for napping on the couch. It was more a gift for me, and then it turned into a requirement for you.
Oh, that's how it started.
That's how it started. It looked very comfortable. If someone if you haven't been on a pregnancy pillow nap, I highly recommend it, regardless if you're pregnant or not.
Honestly, yes, it's pretty ergonomic, like in terms of like somebody embracing you.
Oh yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah, it's kind of like the size of an elephant trunk, but soft and totally wrapping around your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, for now, lucky that by this time a lot of women are complaining about swollen feet, back pains, that it's very like challenging to move and walk and whatever. It's not really. I just feel like my battery is limited. So before, let's say, I can stay active in a day 10 hours. And it doesn't matter if it's just me working at the desk or like doing some physical exercise.
Yeah.
So right now I know it's limited to 4 to 5 hours, and I need a nap.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
Funny.
This is good. This is
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yeah. So.
But do you feel like there is this syndrome when like monkey see, monkey do, and sometimes partners kind of fall in the same agenda?
Oh yeah.
Eating the same way, sleeping, feeling tired, like do you feel the same?
Yeah, it's
I think so sometimes.
Yeah,
I would not say on a constant basis.
Yeah, it's impacting each other for sure.
Yeah.
Like each other's habits.
But what about the guys? Because you keep saying that the guys, they don't really feel it because they only see the difference of development when their partner is getting bigger or whatever.
Yeah.
But did you feel any difference from the moment when you felt the first kick, when you put your hand on my belly?
Yeah, it's much more.
Is
it? You can tell the baby's a lot stronger now than when the baby first started kicking. Before it was like a knock. Like a little faint knock, and now it's like a really clear kick where it's like you can actually see even the kick coming through your belly, and it'll show on the outside surface, which it never did before. So now like when I feel that's like a vivid, clear sign that the baby's getting stronger.
Right.
It's every week pretty much.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, every week when you like kind of put in your hand, but I feel like every day there is like changing an agenda, like because before it was like random kicks, and by the way they also have hiccups.
Yeah, you can feel the hiccups now.
But right now, like you can feel the agenda, and this agenda doesn't mean needs to be the same as yours. He's more active in the night when I'm trying to actually have a sleep, or like whenever I have meetings. So it's like we're totally not synchronized.
Yeah, exactly. There's the baby doesn't really have a clock yet.
Because to them, they don't have light, right?
Yeah.
Well, they say that they feel the light, they have better already, because their eyes kind of developed in a way that they can open it a bit, the lids. But it doesn't mean that for them, if it's lighter, that I have to be active, and when it's darker, that I will fall asleep. No, just to have their agenda to follow.
What do you miss about not having a baby inside of you that you can't wait to dive back into when the baby's born after that?
The biggest one is doing the sports.
Yeah, the sports.
The sports, yeah, because
COVID has something to do with that too, though.
It is too, but because your center of gravity different, the muscles, especially abdominal muscles, behave a bit different. Because I really like your analogy when you say that it's kind of like a hammock. Like my baby's my stomach is a hammock for the baby to sit there, and I feel constant pressure, like this gravity falls, and that's what makes me feel exhausted by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So when you do the activity, so imagine like you're 16 kilos plus.
Yeah.
Your center of gravity is different, and I couldn't even believe that it's actually existed until I started to have it. They say pregnant mind or brain, but you're clumsy.
Yeah.
Like things falling from my hands and they moving awkwardly, not just because of my size. I'm still like doing yoga and can put the leg behind my neck.
Yeah.
It's just
Your
kind
balance,
of, the balance is different. Yeah. So that's what's, and of course baby safety. So I was very, very lucky to snowboard until 5 months.
Yeah.
But then right now there's not much of a choice.
No, because you've gotten a lot bigger since then.
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago, you could do that. Your body, you could move it and control it and have the balance.
Problem. Now it's challenging for me to put the shoes on.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like my shoes don't fit.
Yeah.
And before they did.
And I keep thinking that it might be an issue also wipe my ass later. Because you can really boom. It's kind of
That's
me and belly, and you don't see whatever's happened. Now I understand people who are bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of jokes about that, but like I feel like there is a problem for you to just like tie your shoes or move.
Bending over, moving, and plus the next 2 months you're going to get quite a bit bigger.
Yeah,
so that's something that's
just
coming.
Only accelerating every day, and that's what makes me probably sometimes feel this anxiety, and you probably feel it as a partner. Like when I'm getting more emotional, crying. That's probably things that I never experienced.
You cried recently. Why'd that happen?
That was kind of a cluster. It was overlapping several events that happened. I had problems at work, experiencing, and I heard this again. It's not new. Even though like when your boss and your team knows that you're pregnant, and especially in COVID because they don't really see me, right? So I'm working from home. So to them it's probably like a fact, and they keep on sometimes asking like, when is your due date? And when I was like, I'm 7 months, they're like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you're still 4. I was like, no, I was 4 when they told you, and it was in December. So like people completely lost this like sense of the time, especially they will not think about you every day that she's pregnant, she's like right now 6 months or 7 months. So they don't have this, and there is still pressure, there is still like things that they will still demand from you as normal person. But unfortunately we have to say that when woman is pregnant, it's different. Your brain doesn't work in the same way as it was before. You're not that active, you're not that sharp, especially like to the late months. When I talked to some of my friends who didn't really work, and they told me like, I don't know how you're still doing that. How you can sit at the desk for like 8 hours and like writing emails and still keep thinking. Like, because most of the women by this time right now...
in the middle of it all.
Yeah, like they sleep. They have naps like every 2-3 hours, and I don't have this royalty. So yeah, and that was work pressure. There was pressure of, again, this quest of a project baby, like when you're trying to figure it out, the format, like I didn't know that there are different ways to be monitored here in Canada. And even just the area where we live have difference, like in terms of there's not a lot of midwives here. It's only 3 associations and like 2 people working in each, and so they basically I didn't know that the bureaucracy is like you have when you just be on the stick, you have already like call midwife and book your spot to be monitored. So. And because I was in walk-in clinic and then transferred to maternity clinic, so it's still good formatted, but it's just like you kind of more by yourself. So you spending more time for research rather than somebody's like walk you through like holding your hand. Yeah. So and I realized like nobody's going to hold my hand, and at work I still have the same pressure. And then I was thinking about my list of this large stuff for baby that we didn't buy yet, and it's like...
Yeah, I know.
And then I never experienced that when you cry and you cannot just stop. It's just like, keeps going, you're trying to comfort me, and it doesn't work. I was like,
So it was a lot to do with work, and then the midwife search 7 months into the pregnancy where we couldn't find one.
Yeah, they basically
And
accept people from the first trimester, not from the third one.
Just saying no.
Yeah, you by yourself.
That we were by ourselves, and that's how it felt at the time. But,
yeah.
But what happened after that to make you feel better about it?
Again, probably the difference between when you're normal person, I mean not pregnant person, you can get depressed and stressed, no problem. Well, I mean, of course there is a problem. Your eyes will be like swollen and you'll probably have a headache on the next day, but not when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
The things are very affecting the baby, so basically I feel like my tummy get really danced and I feel like I'm not feeling well. So when I told that about what I experienced the next day to the doctor, she was like, well, there was contractions. So you actually started to basically trigger them.
So contractions are starting now.
They call it false contractions, which can become real ones. So you have to remember about that. So that's why they keep saying like never upset the pregnant woman, never push.
It's good advice.
It's a good advice because she told me like basically your mission right now, well, from the beginning when you get pregnant, the mission of the mother is to keep the baby safe. Because as soon as you started to carry the baby, you need to make sure that the baby will not appear sooner than later. So she's like, that's your primary role. So forget about your office, about your bosses and stuff. Like everything have to move because it's really affecting the baby. So it's like 7 months they can survive, but it's not the good idea to push the baby out just because you're depressed or you're just like a bit emotional today because of the work.
Right. Yeah.
So the first time I realized like how whatever I do can affect the baby so quickly, like so quickly. And the baby was like, Jesus Christ, he was like a rocket inside. He was like churning so much, and I was like, oh my God, it's like drives me crazy because I had a feeling that he just wanted just to get out. Honestly, he was like, I don't want to be here. Because
I don't want him to come out yet.
Yeah. And I was like, no, stay there. Stay there, stay there, stay there. Yeah, so.
Well, this is where we're at. We're 7 months in, and we're going to keep doing this video series as we approach, the 9-month mark where we're going to be able to...
And to say that this is easy, actually, to give a birth, it's okay. The challenging time will be like 3 months after, but we'll see. Right,
yeah, for sure. But at least the baby won't be inside you after that.
Yeah, right now we keep thinking that it's safer like to make sure that he's safely on board with us here rather than trying to make sure that I'm like a shell carrying this little baby inside, and if something happened to me, it means that something happened to baby.
All right. Well, this is episode 1. This was the first. Basically what I'm going to do is put more episodes out there, and really this is a diary of us tracking what we've done, where we're at today, and where we're going. And the next episode will have some new updates, new stuff to talk about, and then I'll post it, and that's it. So hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the next one coming, and keep checking us out. Bye. The Baby Diaries.